It's race morning at Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant. Long before dawn, the race site is active. As the final details are locked down, with hours still to go, the athletes begin to arrive. Different people, different countries, different backgrounds. One goal: push their limits. Checking, rechecking, preparing, physically and mentally, for another Ironman race. This is the moment they've worked for. And today they've come to prove anything is possible. Miles away, the Air Force is equally focused, and methodically, the personnel run through their pre-flight checklist. The first heart-thumping flypast with signal the start is near. The second one, enjoy the race. Go time. Back at the site, the clock is burning down. The months, the years of work have come down to this day, this race, this moment. The time between an athlete's dream and reality is now razor thin, and the senses alive.
You just have that tremendous feeling that's overtaking your body, and every sense is magnified.
I hear everything around me. I feel everything. Everything around me is just heightened.
I usually take the sand, I rub it into my hands to get a feel for where I am and an appreciation for where I am.
Everybody's looking in the sky waiting for that jet to pass.
You know you're alive when all these senses are being affected by what you're about to do.
You start hearing them from far away, and you start getting shivers, right? You know it's coming. You know that the race is coming.
CFA teams are here. For the athletes, there is no turning back. The start now moments away. Welcome to the 2017 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sportian. The professionals will be the first to enter Lac Tremblant. The men at 6:35 a.m., the women at 6:38. Canada's Magali Tesser has 17 Ironman 70.3 wins. This year, her focus has become capturing her first Ironman title.
The moment where I really start feeling the stress building and the pre-race nerves coming is when I get to the beach and I'm putting on my swim equipment and getting ready for the swim and, get in the water for the warm-up. Then it's on.
Belgium's Marino van Hoornakker is the world's most decorated male Ironman athlete. 15 Ironman titles. He is the one to beat, and everyone knows it.
There's no race I can go in and stay under the radar. Everybody watches me. I'm 41 now, and to be honest, I feel I'm not getting faster anymore. The thing is, I do last longer.
Canadian Antoine Jolicoeur de Roche is barely half Van Hoornakker's age. This will be his first ever Ironman. Australian Chris McDonald is another multiple champion. 6 Ironman titles. Beating Van Hoornakker would make number 7 that much bigger. The professional men are set. As the CFA team heads back home, the professional men depart on a journey that will take more than 8 hours. Nearly an hour of that will be in Lac Tremblant. 3.9 kilometers, 2.4 miles in distance. The professional women quickly move into position for their start. American Lauren Brandon is by far the best swimmer here. She may be the top cyclist as well. The question mark, though, is the run.
And now a resident of Tremblant, Magali Tesser.
Like Brandon, Canadian Magali Tesser is chasing her first Ironman title, with numerous Ironman 70.3 titles. Expectations are that she will eventually win. Question is, will it be today? Great Britain's Rachel Joyce has proven she can win, but a fourth place result just 3 weeks ago at Subaru Ironman Canada leaves question marks around her as well. The professional women are underway. It will be around 9 hours before we have the answer to who will be the women's 2017 Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant champion. It is a rookie leading the way for the professional men. Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches is among the very best in the water. His plan is to eventually bring his biking and running to the same level.
For me, it's just about like being always at the front, but being patient, do my own race also because it's a big distance. But if you want to go out there to ride, it's not just to finish or participate.
To finish first on this day, he only needs to look back to see the heavy favorite, the man to beat in this group of three. Marino van Hoornakker took his first Ironman win in 2005. Since then, he has won at least one title every year, with the exception of 2013. In the professional women's race, the story early on is Lauren Brandon. The American has left other women way behind. Now she is passing many of the professional men, even though she began 3 minutes after.
I was a swimmer my whole life, swam in college. I know that I just need to use that to my advantage and continue to push myself as the long, 4K goes on, and trying to especially work that back half when other people are starting to fall off and get as much lead as I can going into the rest of the race.
Great Britain's Rachel Joyce is second. American Darby Roberts is next. Canadian Magali Tessier is fourth. Their goal is to limit the damage in the water. Right now, they are not. Lauren Brandon is adding to her lead by minutes. Back on the beach, the amateurs have taken over. The senses are alive, most alone in their thoughts, but together in their dreams. Whether the goal is to set a personal best, to finish high enough to qualify for the Ironman World Championship, or simply to prove that they have the heart to complete this. Once they cross the timing match, they each have a maximum of 17 hours to make it over the finish line. 3.9 kilometers, 2.4 miles of swimming. On the bike, 112 miles, 180 kilometers, followed by a marathon. Now imagine doing that as a blind athlete. Diane Bergeron tried to conquer this event in 2015. 2 years later, she returns more determined than ever. A remarkable display of power. Lauren Brandon will exit the water first overall, and this despite starting 3 minutes after the pro men. It will be a huge lead over the pursuing women, but she knows she needs a substantial lead if she is to hold them off on their run. Canada's Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches will lead for the men. Right there with him, Marino van Hoornakker and fellow Belgian Wouter Monchi, along with Mexico's Oliver Gonzalez. Australian Chris McDonald is fifth, just over 30 seconds back. For the professional men, Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches leads the way in a time of 53:17, followed by Van Hoornakker, Monchi, Gonzalez, and Chris McDonald in fifth. Lauren Brandon will head out with the lead for the women. Jolicoeur-Desroches for the men as they move into the second discipline. Just a few seconds back, Van Hoornakker leads the pursuers. Back at the water, the first chase pack of women. Rachel Joyce, Darby Roberts, and Magali Tessier. If they have not heard yet, they soon will. Their deficit after the swim, nearly 7 minutes. Lauren Brandon completes the swim in 49:34. 6:45 back is Rachel Joyce, followed closely by Roberts and Tessier. In fifth, Thomas. While Tessier, Joyce, and Roberts are still exiting T1, Brandon is already working her way through this bike course. Here in the Laurentian Mountains. The 2017 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sporty, is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, Sporty, and the Government of Quebec. He has been the leader since the race began, but that is about to change. Marino van Honacker has taken over at the front of the race. It is the veteran Van Honacker now behind the lead Subaru, with the rookie Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches keeping pace.
Through my career, I always had to find solutions to keep the younger guys with a lot more speed coming into my sport or my distance behind me, and I always found solutions. The only thing that didn't change is my motivation. It's still the same, and the fun I have in the sport is still the same as I was 21 years old.
24-year-old Jolicoeur-Desroches is at the beginning of his triathlon journey. Second to one of the sport's very best, a pretty good position to be in. However, behind the rookie, there are a lot of men with experience at this distance. Among them, Chris McDonald, this pass moving him into fourth. 6 times he has raced all the way to an Ironman title. Van Honacker knows he is not very far behind. This pass on Belgian Wouter-Mounchi moves the Australian into third. Lauren Brandon built a lead of nearly 7 minutes during the swim. Early on the bike, she is continuing to add to that advantage. The Texan has already qualified for the Ironman World Championship. She comes to Canada with one goal.
What really got me excited was trying to get my first Ironman win. I looked at the calendar and decided Mont Tremblant was one of my favorite races when I did the 70.3 here. So I decided to sign up for the Ironman and come here and get a good race in.
Canadian Magali Tesser is second. Like Brandon, she is looking for her first Ironman win. This is literally her backyard. She lives here. She trains here. She would love nothing more than to win here.
It's a huge advantage to be able to train here. I feel like I can also divide the course better in my mind, and that's a big thing for me. Like, to be able to race well, I have to have little sections that I label, and I know it like the back of my hand.
Right in back of Tesser, in third, Rachel Joyce. She has been a dominant force on the triathlon circuit. Gold at the 2011 ITU Long Distance World Championships, 2 silver and a bronze at the Ironman World Championship. Just 3 weeks ago, she was the top seed at Subaru Ironman Canada. Joyce just needed to finish on the podium, punch her ticket back to Kona. She finished 4th.
The day of Ironman Canada, I entered Ironman Mont Tremblant knowing that this would be the last day for qualifying. So here I am.
So, one final shot to return for the Ironman World Championship. 5th or better will be enough. The professionals are not the only ones here with dreams of making it to Kona. There are 40 qualifying spots available for the amateurs at Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant. However, for the vast majority, it is the village of Mont Tremblant and the surrounding Laurentian Mountains that are the real draw when choosing an Ironman race.
So far, so good. You got big heels, my friend. Well, we're gonna attack it. What else would you want to do than bike 180K with your friends?
Oh, fantastic. Beautiful day here in Mont Tremblant.
For Diane Bergeron, at first glance you may think the beauty of the area would be lost to her. But she would gently remind you it is not. The sounds of nature, the smell of the mountain air, the gentle touch of the wind providing beauty of their own.
So far, it's awesome. So far.
Diane made it halfway through the marathon 2 years ago in her first attempt. Since then, she has trained on this course. She completed the Ironman 70.3 event earlier in the year here. Now, it is all about this day.
I really wanted to do an Ironman because it's the biggest challenge I can imagine that I could possibly do in my life.
She is amazing. Diane is probably one of the most determined people I've ever met. She figures out what she wants to do and doesn't really see the obstacles in the way and just figures out a way to do it.
There's always barriers out there, whether you can see or you can't see. There's tons of barriers in life. And if you're going to get what you want in life, what you need in life, you got to be prepared to remove the barriers. So this is, for me, just one more thing that I have to conquer in my life, just to prove to myself I can.
I think there's a few reasons. I think certainly, as for any Ironman athlete, there's a personal challenge there, but I think for Diane there's an added element. So many of the races that Diane has done, she's either the only blind athlete or, you know, sometimes even the first blind athlete to do it. So for people to see that this is possible, there's no question that this is very, very important to her.
I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa when I was 5 years old and became legally blind at the age of 10. And I lost my sight pretty much completely, light perception and everything, somewhere in my 30s. And over that time frame, the world for blind people has changed significantly. You know, we've got talking computers and braille displays and all sorts of technology that has given us the ability to go out and be more independent. It's come a long way. Our biggest barrier isn't the physical inability to access something. It's really the attitudes of people and what they think that we're capable of. Because all we really need is an opportunity to give it a try and to come up with ways to get around things and do them in a different way. And if we can break down some of those attitudinal barriers, it just changes the world.
Whether she makes it to the finish line or not, Diane Bergeron's mission to break down barriers has already been a success. Welcome back to the 6th edition of Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sportium, taking place in the 540 million year old Laurentian Mountains, among the oldest in the world. The men's leader continues to be Marino van Honacker. He has finally been able to open up an advantage over Canadian Antoine Jolicoeur de Roche. Van Honacker now alone with only the lead Subaru for company. The Belgian captured his first Ironman title in 2006. Since then, he has been unbelievably consistent and resilient. But earlier this year, he had the biggest setback ever.
This year I had a huge crash on the bike and broke my chest bone, which was a new thing for me again. Because, you know, the comeback from that was different than from an injury. So I pushed a whole lot harder and straight, the day after the crash, I was training again and pushing through the pain, and I healed like nobody would believe. So that was a new experience for me, and it keeps life interesting.
Behind Van Honacker, changes. Australian Chris McDonald has caught the Canadian as he moves into second place, 3:30 behind Van Honacker.
I truly believe that there's a mentality for winning, and few have it. And that's where I'm like, if I can just get myself in the race every time I start, when the door opens, I'll do everything I can to slam a shot on the guy behind me.
The guy right behind him is Antoine Jolicoeur de Roche, a local 24-year-old Ironman rookie.
I'm definitely here to race. For sure, I want to finish, but I'm here to compete, be there at the front of the race, pretty much all the race, and try to go on in the top 5. I feel like also, if you're on the top 5 during all the race, there's a good chance that maybe a few people are going to drop out and the podium can be a possibility.
Van Honacker's countryman, Wouter Manchi, is a couple minutes back third.
I'm not going for first, Belgian. I settle for second, Belgian.
In fifth, another Canadian Ironman rookie, Jordan Money. Even further back is yet another Canadian, Stephen Kilshaw. He had a breakout race here in 2016, moving up during the run to finish in third. Right now, this group is about 2:20 back of third. American Chad Holderbaum moving past Kilshaw, and Canadian Daniel Clark, as this group continues to exchange positions. American Patrick Evo, an Ironman winner, the latest to push the pace.
When we're in the heat of a race, we have decisions that we have to make, and it's up to us to keep a cool head and focus on making rational decisions and tactical decisions.
first-year pro, Canadian Daniel Clark, set to take a turn out front of this group. All the while, at the front of the race, Van Honacker just keeps adding to his advantage. Great Britain's Rachel Joyce and Canadian Magali Tessere have been matching each other's pace the entire day. Hours into the race, Joyce is on the move as she drops Tessere into third. However, both women, in fact all the women, are giving up more and more time to the leader. Lauren Brandon showing no signs of slowing down. Her advantage now double digits. Magali Tessere, the local triathlon star, once again moving back into second place. Magali Tessere is one of the world's most decorated Ironman 70.3 athletes, multiple titles, 2 podiums at the Ironman 70.3 Worlds. But after nearly a decade of racing, the Quebec star was at a crossroads in her career, in her life.
When I came back home at the end of last year, I had trouble finding the passion that I had for the sport. I kind of felt lost, really. I felt like I had achieved things and I was stuck at a level, and the first person I thought of was Lisa.
Lisa Bentley retired as a professional in 2009. After an incredible career that included 11 Ironman titles and a third-place finish at the 2006 Ironman World Championship, the phone call between the two women evolved into Bentley becoming Tessere's coach.
Well, that's what we want in taper.
And that was exactly what Tessere was searching for.
Someone who definitely has experience in Hawaii and experience with Ironman, and she also has a great spirit.
It's pretty neat coming back to my sport that I did and loved for so many years, and now I get to be the teacher. I was never the fastest in the pool, on the bike, on the run. No way. And I had cystic fibrosis. I should have been beaten every single time. And the only reason I didn't get beaten was because of my mental visualization, being able to turn a negative into a positive, find a way where there was no way.
I realized over time that what was holding me back was the fear of the unknown.
The mind is so important, and when you're unhappy, you can't be good at anything. So the first job was to find joy and happiness in training.
I decided to throw myself into Ironman with her. And as I did those workouts, I started getting into the long distance idea, discovering what it's like to run off a 5-hour bike ride, and just being out there on my own, really, also. I started loving that. I realized that's what I needed as an athlete.
You always have to do the best you can with your deck of cards, and that's exactly what she's doing. She's far too talented to have given up the sport without giving Ironman a try.
I feel like I'm at the beginning of something instead of completely the opposite just a few months ago, where I felt like I was the end of something.
You put your heart out there on that race course for everyone to see, and it's risky. But that also brings you the greatest joy as well.
It's like, can I do this? This is hard, but I sure want to do it, and I think I need to prove to myself that I can, and that's really powerful.
Magali is so talented. Nobody even can see the depth of her talent. She is unbridled energy, incredibly gifted. And what a fire, what a passion, what a heart. And we just have to hone it. We have to get rid of the edges and just make it a nice little package. And she can soar above all the clouds.
The 2017 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sportium, is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, Sportium, and the city of Mont Tremblant. A brief meeting for the professional leaders. Marino Van Honacker and Lauren Brandon both have built substantial advantages in their respective races. It's also a chance for the chase pack to see Van Honacker as well. Their deficit has grown to more than 16 minutes. Things are not as dire for Chris McDonald in second. But a 10-minute deficit to the most decorated male triathlete ever, that will be very challenging to overcome. In third, Antoine Jolicoeur de Roche continues to show great form in his first ever Ironman race.
I've been wanting to do an Ironman for like so long. Like I've been growing up watching Kona on TV and like actually like watching Mario Vananeke race. So it's like to be able to race with him and like race with the pros, it's a big step up.
So far, a great day for Canadian Ironman rookies. Daniel Clark has dropped most of the chase bag and is now fourth. Right there with him, fellow Ontario triathlete and also a first-time Ironman athlete, Jordan Martin. Every check-in with Lauren Brandon sees the same result for the women's leader. The American keeps adding to her advantage at every turn. Now, 12 minutes. It is substantial, but history would suggest it is far from insurmountable. Brandon has held the lead before at several Ironman races, only to see it evaporate each time on the run. And Britain's Rachel Joyce has proven she can come from behind to win. The other concern for Brandon, Magali Teixeira, with 17 Ironman 70.3 titles, it is clear she too knows what it takes to win the big races. And few are bigger than Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant. American Tim Schwabenbauer set to drop the Canadian Brooke Brown back into fifth. With the exception of Brandon, no other pro is riding as quick as Schwabenbauer. Still, Brandon is showing no signs of slowing down here at Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sportium. Welcome back to Mont Tremblant, Canada. They are now all out there together, professionals and amateurs, young and old, male and female, all working away on this second discipline.
The amateurs get to compete on the same playing field on the same day at the same time as professionals. We're out there experiencing all the same elements. And so I think what that does is that creates a bond between amateurs and professionals that you just don't see in other sports.
We've all had different journeys, you know, or different experiences of getting to an Ironman start. We all know that it's not always been easy and there's been bumps in the road. It's kind of a special thing that we all share.
Mathieu Morin is one of the youngest amateurs here. The 21-year-old grew up as a competitive swimmer with dreams of representing Canada at the Olympics.
I started swimming at 4 years old. At around 8 or 10 years old, I started to compete. And I saw that I had talent in it, and I loved it.
It started with me because I'm an ex-swimmer, and I mean, I've been also coaching in swimming competitively.
You go to the pool for 6 o'clock, you do your morning training, and then you go to school, and then after that, you come back to the pool to do your afternoon training. That was my life throughout all my high school years, and also CEGEP.
He was going out to national meet, and I was going with him to Calgary, to Ottawa, to Quebec City. The last year that he was competing, I was saying, whoa, he's got some talent, and I'm sure he's going to go far because he's got the mind.
Throughout all this process, I was building a dream of going to the Olympics. But every time I was coming back in the pool, and all my performance and all my times crashed. So I went to the doctor to check my heart, and then he came. He's like, "Yeah, your heart is beating at 120 beats per minute, resting. An athlete like you should be at 50 or 60, and you're double it." My swimming career was pretty done. I started biking, I started triathlon, and then I had some fun. I was watching videos of Ironman, and I was like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do." Big competition. That was the dream that I built up. I went to see my doctor. I was like, yeah, I want to do the Ironman. And then he said, in your mindset, in a way, like you want to compete and you want to do a good time, we don't know what can happen to you. It could be good and it also could be bad for your heart. I kind of like twisted it. I I did it on another side. I was like, I don't want to do it to compete. I don't want to do it to finish it. I want to do it to cross the finish line for the Highland Stroke Foundation. Is that okay for you? Is that okay for me? It's like, yeah, that's a good project. I'll follow you each 3 months. And if something's going wrong, or if the training for the Ironman it's not good for your heart, I'll stop you right away. Iron heart, it means a lot. No matter what the obstacles, you have to fight, you have to persevere, and to reach the goal and reach the dream you set yourself.
Marino van Honacker is working away on the run. It has been a completely dominating performance to this point. During the swim, he had the leader in his sights the entire time. On the bike, he attacked early and never let up the entire 180 kilometers. Now a marathon stands between him and a record 16th Ironman title. Australian Chris McDonald will come into the transition zone in second place, almost 12 minutes back. If that is not bad enough, the reality is Van Honacker is the best runner in the entire field. Canadian Antoine Jolicoeur-Desroches will be third into transition, 6 minutes behind second, 18 minutes to first. This is Jolicoeur-Desroches' very first Ironman. Ahead of him, a combined 21 Ironman wins, 6 for McDonald, 15 for the leader. Daniel Clark is fourth, 2 minutes behind his countryman. Just 50 seconds back is Jordan Monning. The trio separated by just 3 minutes. 3 Canadian rookies, all in a great position to challenge for a spot on the podium. Marino van Honacker with the commanding lead, McDonald in second, with the 3 Canadian Ironman rookies rounding out the top 5. Lauren Brandon will be the very first of the women to make it into T2. She has an advantage almost identical to Van Honacker's. Rachel Joyce and Magali Tessere knew coming into the race that Brandon would try and take control of the race on the bike. Now the race is about to switch to their strength. For Brandon, she will hope that this time her advantage will be enough to hold her pursuers off.
Racing from the front is definitely a little bit tough mentally, because as you can imagine, I only get passed, right? You really just have to try and stay positive, especially when those fast runners are coming at you. I used to get passed earlier in the race, but now I feel like it's later and later, and I'm hoping to hold on for the whole race.
Rachel Joyce and Magali Tessere have made it into T2. They are 13 minutes back. The marathon remains 24.2 miles. Brandon can give up an average of about 30 seconds a mile. The race to the finish line is on. Lauren Brandon with an incredible swim-bike combination. Joyce 13-19 back, followed by Tessere, Kim Schwabenbauer, and Jenny Hansen in fifth. The 2017 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sportium, continues. The 2017 edition of Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant, presented by Sportium, is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, Tremblant, Take Me to the Top, and the Government of Canada. It seems the world's greatest athletes somehow make their sports look effortless. Marino van Honacker continues to add to his advantage. 12 minutes to begin the run. Now, more than 16.
If people see me, they think 15 Ironmans. I mean, he enters, he wins. It's not that hard for him, but it's not that simple. I mean, there's good pros who are pro for 15 years and never win an Ironman. And then there's guys who win 1. And then there's guys who win 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's me who wins 15. It's just, yeah. And I spread it over 12 years, so it's been great.
While it may appear effortless, the reality is tackling an Ironman, especially at the elite level, takes work, passion, and a willingness to endure what you will.
People might reference all the time, oh, he's going to a dark place, or he's going into the zone. it's a place that we flourish. You know, I think there's very few people that know in the grand population, we're talking not 0.1% of population know how to go there. For me, it's when you're deep into the marathon, things hurt, your feet hurt, your hips hurt, your brain hurts. I enjoy that feeling.
First and second place in the men's race appears set. However, third place is still a rookie affair, with the outcome yet to be decided. For the first time, Quebec's Antoine Jolicoeur de Roche is experiencing what McDonald has so often. He is deep into his first Ironman. His pace has slowed, and he is being tracked down. Ontario's Jordan Monique was 3 minutes back of third to begin the marathon. That deficit now down to a few seconds. One rookie gives way to another. Jordan Monique has taken over third place. For Antoine Jolicoeur de Roche, this race has now become more about making it to the finish line than anything else. Daniel Clark, the other Canadian rookie who began the run in contention for third place, is having challenges of his own. Things can change quickly at an Ironman. American Chad Holderbaum, the latest to pass Jolicoeur de Roche, as he falls back to fifth. The women's race, a contrast to the men's. It is going to be a fight to the finish, with every position on the podium still on the line. Lauren Brandon has led from the gun. Her advantage 13 minutes over second. Even more on her other pursuers to start the run. However, the numbers, her advantage, they are coming down, and they are adding up to a major problem for the American. For starters, Great Britain's Rachel Joyce and Canadian Magali Tessier have been locked in a battle on the run, each pushing the other, in the process gaining on the leader. Joyce holding about a 30-second advantage. Tessier never letting her out of her sight.
Keep up the tempo, keep eating and drinking, keep those calories coming in. Dig into these hills on the way back. That's where you're going to make up your time.
Further back, there are even more problems for Brandon. Her countrywoman, Kim Schwabenbauer, is running faster than any of the other women. A 13-minute lead. It will prove to be not nearly enough. Rachel Joyce has Lauren Brandon in her sights. On the second of two loops, we have a new leader. There's no chance for Joyce to celebrate. The race for first is far from decided. Magali Tessier passed Brandon as well, the Canadian now second. By now, Kim Schwabenbauer knows she too will catch Brandon. She will also know there is a shot at catching not only Tessier, but Joyce as well. Some of the amateurs have joined the professionals on the run course. Others soon will. But many are still working away on the bike, the longest discipline in both time and length. Everyone knows there will be unexpected challenges during an Ironman. The mantra is to deal with it and push on.
Always wanted to do it, and now the kids are old enough to remember me doing it. I thought I'd better do it now.
Mike Green's journey here took 37 days. He cycled all the way from Colorado on the same bike he's riding in the race.
Nobody races a 27-pound steel frame touring bike in a triathlon. I just want to finish. I want to enjoy the event on Sunday.
Mathieu Morin is sticking to his game plan. It's about listening to his doctor's advice, staying in control, and finishing.
Things good? Heart's a little bit fast, but not that a big deal.
Mathieu Morin will soon complete the 180-kilometer bike. The marathon is next. Diane Bergeron and her guide Corey are at special needs. It is a chance to refuel, to to collect themselves before their final push on the bike.
Just a couple of minutes and then we'll be gone again for lap 2. And then hopefully we can leave enough time so I can crawl the run if necessary.
Everyone has a maximum of 17 hours to make it to the finish line, and not a second more. Changes in the women's race. Magali Tessier has an upset stomach. Her shot at the win is gone. Kim Schwabenbauer was as much as 20 minutes back, but she has continued to set the fastest pace on the run. She is now second. Jenny Hansen has also gone past Tessier as she moves up into third. The final turnaround on the run. The last chance for Schwabenbauer and Hansen to see each other before the finish line. Second and third, separated by just 60 seconds. Lauren Brandon and Magali Tessier are in a battle of their own. Their shot at the win is over. Right now, it is about 4th place. Rachel Joyce continues to hold on to the lead. She is now matching Schwabenbauer's pace. The top 2 women, separated by just 2 minutes. He has done it yet again. Marino van Honacker with an absolutely dominating performance as he captures his 16th Ironman title with a victory at Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant. Chris McDonald took control of second place on the bike as he captures the runner-up honors. Canadian Jordan Monick in his first ever Ironman. An incredible debut as he takes 3rd place. He is the most decorated male Ironman ever. Belgium's Marino van Honacker with his 16th Ironman title. Australian Chris McDonald in second, and Canadian Jordan Monick rounding out the podium. Van Honacker in a time of 8:21:29. McDonald more than 20 minutes back in second, followed by Monick, Chad Holderbaum, and Jason Pohl in 5th place. Rachel Joyce is the 2017 Subaru Ironman Mont Tremblant champion. Her 2nd Ironman win of the year. There to join in the celebration, her husband Brad Hedges and their son Archie. With his victory, Joyce is now qualified for the Ironman World Championship, where she will be one to watch. Kim Schwabenbauer comes from well back. Only Joyce was able to hold her off. Schwabenbauer with a great race to capture second. Jenny Hansen has held on for third in a thrilling women's race. Lauren Brandon said she was going to put it all out there for the win. She certainly did that today. Brandon takes 4th. Canadian Magali Tessier will cross the line in 5th, completely exhausted. Her coach Lisa Bentley there to offer some assistance. Great Britain's Rachel Joyce takes the top step on the podium. Americans, Kim Schwabenbauer and Jenny Hansen in 2nd and 3rd. Joyce in a time of 9 hours, 19 minutes and 8 seconds. Schwabenbauer just 2 minutes and 14 seconds back. Hansen in 3rd, followed by Lauren Brandon and Canadian Magali Tessier in 5th place. Despite it being more than 10 hours since this race began, for some, their journey is barely half over. Diane Bergeron and her guide, Corey McDonald, are just beginning the final discipline. 2 years ago, Diane made it out onto the marathon, but that was where her dream of being an Ironman was put on hold. With time running out, she was forced to withdraw halfway through the run. She was proud of what she'd accomplished, but she wanted more. She wanted this. To sense the thunder of the crowds. To feel the finisher's medal being placed around her neck. She wanted to hear her footsteps take her further this time. And so she heads away from the finish line, with hours of work still remaining. One of thousands still trying to make their way through this course. Throughout the day and into the night, the celebrations continue. It is a journey that began long before the start of the race. Months, for some even years of training and planning, all to bring them to this moment. Diane Bergeron has made it further than her first attempt. Along with her guide, Corey, the push is on.
I hadn't been even out of the gates of Ironman, and I said I'll be back in 2 years, and so this is my comeback.
Mathieu Morin had two goals on this day: to finish feeling healthy and strong, and to raise $15,000 for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Mission accomplished. There to congratulate the young man with the iron heart, Mom and Dad. It has become a tradition at Ironman races around the world. The champions, Great Britain's Rachel Joyce and Belgian Marino van Hoenacker, have returned to the finish line to medal fellow finishers.
I realized, there's nothing stopping me. There is really, truly nothing stopping me.
Congratulations, Diane. You will forever be an Ironman.